Ferrari is famous for building not only incredible supercars, but special, limited edition models that leave Ferrari enthusiasts salivating to get a hold of one. These have included the open-top LaFerrari Aperta, the 488-based J50, and the windshieldless, wait, is that even a word? Windshieldless? Whatever. The windshieldless single-seat Monza SP1. Combined, just 720 units were built of these three models, and all of them sold out instantly. On the 20th of November 2021, Ferrari announced their all-new limited special edition model, the SP3 Daytona, and this thing is an engineering marvel. With ties back to Ferrari's motorsport success of the 1960s, the most powerful internal combustion engine in any street-legal Ferrari, and an incredibly designed bodywork, the SP3 Daytona is on its way to becoming a legend in the Ferrari world. In this episode of the Prototype Pages, we're going to take a look at the legacy and heritage of the Daytona SP3's name, its screamer, naturally aspirated V12 engine, and its ludicrous bodywork that maximizes downforce and efficiency. Let's do this! Time for a brief history lesson about Ferrari. In the 1967 24 Hours of Daytona, Ferrari finished with a crushing victory in a 1-2-3 finish. The Ferrari 330 P3/4 took first, followed by the 330 P4, and the 412P completed the trio. Soon after, Ferrari dropped the 365 GTB/4 and GTS Spider in 1968. These two models were unofficially dubbed the Daytona by fans and the media in order to commemorate Ferrari's iconic finish the previous year. However, the 365 GTB/4 and GTS/4 were front engine, unlike the mid-engine trio that took the win in 1967. The Daytona SP3, however, is officially named the Daytona and has a mid-engine V12 just like Ferrari's race cars of the 60s. In addition, it takes styling cues and inspiration from the 330 P3, 330 P4, 312P, 512S, 512M, 712 Can-Am, and 350 Can-Am. Sometimes I wonder how on earth Ferrari came up with these names. In addition, the SP3 in SP3 Daytona signifies that it is the third model of their special edition Icona model series. Back in 2018, which seems like forever ago now, Ferrari kicked off the Icona series with the Monza SP1 and SP2. According to Ferrari, the Icona series commemorates Ferrari's history by taking inspiration from legendary Ferraris of the past, but reinterpreting them with just a touch of modernity. The Daytona SP3 is Ferrari's true callback to their motorsport prowess of the 60s and is perfect as the third installment of their Icona series. However, the SP3 Daytona's iconic name isn't the only thing it's got going for it. It's got the firepower to back it up. The SP3 Daytona is powered by a mid-mounted Ferrari F140HC engine. This 6.5-liter, 60-degree, naturally aspirated V12 engine is sourced from the Ferrari A12 Competizione, which made 819 horsepower. However, while the A12 competition was front mid-engine, the SP3 Daytona's V12 engine is pushed further back. Due to the change in position, the Daytona SP3 has a new, improved intake and exhaust system. The intake manifold is smaller, with shorter intake tracks that are less restrictive, allowing for more horsepower at higher RPMs. In order to maximize airflow and efficiency across all engine speeds, the SP3 has variable valve timing and variable geometry intake tracks that optimize the torque curve throughout the entire RPM range. If you're interested in learning more about variable geometry intakes or variable valve timing, Jason Fensky over at Engineering Explained has great videos about it, which I'll leave links to down in the description below. The SP3 Daytona's V12 has new titanium conrods which are 40% lighter than the A12 Competition's steel rods. It has upgraded pistons and a rebalanced crankshaft that is 3% lighter. The piston pins, camshafts, and Formula 1 derived sliding finger valve followers have all been treated with something called diamond-like carbon treatment, a technology that reduces the coefficient of friction. By upgrading to lighter engine internals with less friction, Ferrari has managed to lower the rotational inertia of the Daytona's F140 HC engine. This allows it to rev to an astonishing 9,500 RPM. This thing screams. The SP3 Daytona's V12's internal upgrades, higher redline, intake and exhaust upgrades, and tuning have upped its output to an incredible 828 horses at 9,250 RPM and 514 pound-feet of torque. We don't talk about that voice crack.
I said forget about it, cuz.
514 pound-feet of torque at 7,250 RPM, up from the A12 Competition's 819 horses and 510 pound-feet of torque. This makes the SP3 Daytona the most powerful, non-hybrid, street-legal Ferrari of all time. What's possibly even more impressive is that despite making all this power, Ferrari has tuned the SP3 Daytona's fuel system to produce 30% less pollution emissions than the A12 Competition. Dual high-mounted trapezoid exhaust pipes convey the V12's incredible sound. The SP3's insane amount of power is transferred to the rear wheels courtesy of a lightning-quick Formula 1 6-speed dual-clutch transmission similarly to what's in the LaFerrari, coupled with a limited slip diff. This propels the SP3 to 100 km per hour in just 2.85 seconds, the same as the A12 Competition, and 0 to 200 km per hour in 7.4 seconds. Its top speed is over 211 miles per hour or 340 kilometers per hour. The Ferrari SP3 Daytona has proven that it has the means to back up the legacy of its iconic name. But what good is power if you can't put it to the ground? Luckily, the engineers over at Ferrari have designed the SP3's bodywork to optimize cooling, efficiency, and downforce.
Downforce!
The SP3 Daytona's design and bodywork is heavily inspired by Ferrari's 1960 race cars to which it pays homage to. Its wraparound windshield, fender-mounted side mirrors, and defined wheel arches are reminiscent of cars like the 512S, 330 P3, and P4. The Daytona uses a monocoque chassis and exterior panels made from lightweight materials, including carbon fiber and Kevlar, resulting in a weight of just 3,275 pounds. The horizontal strakes at the rear are a callback to the Testarossa, and the SP3's headlights feature little sliding covers, which are essentially, and I am super stoked about this, modern-day pop-up headlights. I love pop-up headlights. Back in the 1960s, cars had none of the technological advancements that can be found on modern supercars. As the SP3 Daytona is a callback to Ferrari's race cars of the late 60s, it has no active aerodynamics. Therefore, Ferrari was challenged with finding ways to maximize downforce without having to rely on fancy, moving, active aero devices. The Daytona has flicks on the front corners and shear surfaces on the undersides of the doors and fenders that speed up the air under the car, increasing downforce. The SP3 features chimneys that direct air from under the car past the rear haunches, over the engine cover, and to the rear lip spoiler. This reduces air pressure under the car while cooling the engine and generating downforce at the back. Ferrari has also added channels into the doors that direct air to cool the radiators. On each side of the central grille, which allows air to pass through and cool the radiator, are ducts that channel fresh air to cool the brakes and then vent this air out through the side channels in the hood. By using these clever design innovations, The SP3 Daytona generates over 500 pounds of downforce at 125 miles per hour using only passive aerodynamics. According to Ferrari, the SP3 Daytona has the most efficient passive aerodynamic design out of any of its models of all time. Ferrari isn't an ordinary car manufacturer. When you see a Ferrari on the road, it invigorates excitement, thrill, and makes your heart skip a beat. For most of us, a Ferrari itself is the pinnacle of exclusivity. So when Ferrari makes a model to pay homage to some of their greatest achievements in history, it has a lot to live up to. With new cars like the Ford Mustang Mach-E and 2023 Integra, it is becoming painfully, increasingly clear that if car manufacturers want to bring back an old, legendary name from the past, they have to execute it just right. Bringing back an old, legendary name and slapping it onto a mediocre car just leaves a bad taste in enthusiasts' mouths. But thankfully, the SP3 Daytona does not fall victim to this trap. The Daytona's incredible powertrain and innovative bodywork make it a true tribute to Ferrari's 1-2-3 win at the 1967 24 Hours of Daytona and a future Ferrari classic. The SP3 will cost around $2.3 million, but unfortunately, even if you have the means to afford one, you can't buy it because all 599 examples have been sold out. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the Prototype Pages. If so, please consider leaving a like and smashing that subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.